Welcome back to TYT Sports on Pluto TV. We are on Pluto TV. If you're watching this on YouTube, please head over to their platform. It's on PlayStation and Xbox nowadays too. So I know some of the younger viewers, like myself, who like to put everything on their PlayStation, like the Netflix and the Hulu, you can have Pluto.
Interesting.
Pluto, still a planet. 2017, still a effing planet. So our first story of the day belongs to the UFC. The title of it is Robbed. And it discusses 5 of the more unique cases in terms of fight robberies. And this is in honor, I guess, in a way, of Randamie over Holly Holm, in which Holly Holm was pretty much robbed because of 2 late blows after the bell. And it also includes a couple others. So the list was put together by Uproxx, one of their MMA writers, which was good. And he said there was 5 injustices, right? And we'll take a look at those 5. Holm versus Randamie, Anthony Johnson versus Kevin Burns, which holds some weight because Anthony Johnson's fighting at UFC 210 against Daniel Cormier. John Jones versus Matt Hamill. No relation to Luke Skywalker, don't worry. Johnny Hendricks versus Georges St. Pierre, and Demetrius Johnson versus Ian McCall. Now, I only focused on about 3 of these because we have, X amount of time, and the ones that I found the most interesting were the most recent with Randamie, where Francis, I shall read from the LA Times round-by-round breakdown. Randamie lands a hard right hand after the bell. That was unsportsmanlike. It's just in writing, but still round 2. And then, as they mentioned, again, Randamie throws a shot after the bell. Yeah. In 2 straight rounds.
I don't think it was complicated for anyone watching that fight. That it seemed that things were a little unfair. And Holly Holm, deservedly so, demanded a rematch after and wanted to right that wrong, because we talked about Holly Holm, and she's now known as the girl who once knocked out Ronda Rousey and is on a substantial losing streak after that. So she probably felt that loss a little harder than just a regular contender that would feel a loss like that. So that's why I think it's been a little bit more notable than before. She thoroughly deserves a rematch. And it kind of reminds me, I'm going to jump ahead and talk about the Georges St. Pierre fight, because I remember that fight. It was one of the ones that kind of sticks around in my memory. And it's often one that people will use to try and diminish Georges St. Pierre as the best. Now, I don't think that's an accurate comment, considering the guy was on an unbelievable streak throughout his career before he lost that fight in 2007. And then this fight was notably his last fight, right? So this was a controversial fight where basically the way that Uproxx describes it, it kind of recalls in my memory, is that the judges were deemed to be starstruck, right? Because St. Pierre they scored him 10-9 rounds for, I think he went on, he never lost a single round for a substantial streak until he lost that fight in 2007. So maybe they were so used to just giving him rounds that they never even noticed that when he was fighting Hendricks, that Hendricks believes, and so does a lot of people, that he had his number. And it was actually the fight where St. Pierre announced that after he was not going to be returning. And so Hendricks felt that he was robbed of a rematch. And now that Georges St. Pierre is kind of talking about returning, he's still lining up and he still wants a rematch.
I was about to say 9 years later, we actually might get that rematch. Yeah. It's not at the same time. Georges St. Pierre, the people's champion. What does Chancellor Apper always say? The people's champion should be everything that people can be. Yeah. And Georges St. Pierre was that until he kind of.
And you're coming when you fight against a guy called Johnny Hendricks. I mean, he's no Jimi Hendrix, but it's still a great name to have.
I'll let it slide. Well, it was a Jason joke.
It was a Jason.
It was a Jason joke. By the way, the Georges St. Pierre one also donned one of the great Dana White press conferences. Dana White's response to that fight was pretty legendary because he got right to it in a 30-second quick presser clip for you.
Did you see George get smashed and hurt in the first round? It's about damage. This is a fight. It's whoever inflicts the most damage. You get hurt, you get wobbled, you get dropped. I'm blown away that Georges St. Pierre won that fight. And listen, I'm a promoter. He's the biggest pay-per-view star on the fucking planet for me, and I still don't think he won that fight. I want what's fair, and that wasn't fair. I think the Nevada State Athletic Commission is atrocious. I think the governor needs to step in immediately before these guys destroy this sport like they did boxing.
Damn!
I totally forgot about that.
Damn!
I
think the governor, I think the president, if that happened,
put an end to this.
What happened today, Donald Trump would be like, this is just a travesty.
Yeah, of course, especially
investigate UFC.
If Dana White was to say it, he'd be like, all right, this is Georges St. Pierre's getting done. No more federal funds for St. Pierre. Right. No way. If Dana says it, yeah. But, so, I mean, even, it's true. Like, I also think he's playing businessman here. Like, with the Dana White we know now, this is the Dana White that grew from that. Like, he understands that he's trying to go. He probably knows that Georges St. Pierre is retiring. So at that point, he's probably trying to goad him to come back because he knows a rematch.
Yeah, that was a time where there wasn't. Anderson Silva was still obviously a big name, but it's
There's
just
no Conor McGregor.
Look at the superstars now, man. Look, and so Conor's the biggest effing pay-per-view star on the effing planet, is what he'd be saying right now. But granted, Conor tends to knock out his opponents.
Think about it. If Conor McGregor,
No controversy.
if Conor McGregor beat Nate Diaz a second time, right? So it's 1-1, and then Conor McGregor announced afterwards, I'm going to retire. I'm done with this. Then you think Dana White would probably try to do a very similar thing.
If he would. Yeah,
You'd probably come out and be like, I don't even know. I don't think he would say
here's-
he lost a fight. I think he'd come out and say, I don't know if that's a convincing way to go.
There's a counter. Well, it's interesting because there's a counter that's saying that it's been 9 years. Like, what has changed? Now, people don't change, but certain aspects of the UFC business has.
Yeah.
So that would be an interesting point. The other one I wanted to talk about, though, before we wrap this part of it up and get to China, where Wayne Rooney might be going, spoiler alert, was Anthony Johnson's fight versus Kevin Burns. And this isn't a robbery. It's just like one of the worst injustices. Because in this case, I have 3 pictures for you. What happened was, this is the 4th time that Johnson got his eye poked, and it looked like, from the camera angle, that he got just uppercut to the chin and knocked out. And what happens in this 3rd photo is, you see, he jumps on him to hit him in the head, but the ref steps in. You'll see in the next photo, the ref steps in to call the fight, and he's not in pain because he got knocked out. He's in pain because his eye.
Yeah.
And then afterwards, people said, I don't know about that. Like, how bad is his eye really? He came back with 2014 Bob Costas syndrome. So, like, yeah, it looks like he got poked in the eye a lot, and that's something that they've really been working on, though, since fights like that, is to work on the eye poke. And then I think I have one quote from it. They didn't say nothing about why the fight wasn't ruled a no contest, Anthony Johnson said after this one. Nobody has given me an excuse. The only thing I've heard from fans, even the staff of the UFC, was that it's bullshit. Oh, I know, I turned around and I was screaming. The finger went into my eye. It hurt like hell. I've never had that happen before. Not that deep, at least. It's like enough that you're getting your fucking rib cage beat in every goddamn day, and your calves and your legs and your muscles, and you're getting hit in the head over and over. Just like the eye poke to me still seems like one of the most painful experiences. Like, the fingers don't belong, and God put our mouths on our faces for a reason.
Yeah, Jason, I can only imagine how sore it would be.